Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. It really is once again another case of so near and yet so far. Before we kick off, you'll see that I am sporting, and it seems appropriate to be wearing this because I have got to not do this. Soon to be a fashion item all over the world. Yeah, just picked up this morning, so we'll be getting out to our prize winner, our best team name prize winner this week. And I'm trying to think of another competition to run. Anyone any ideas? Put something in the comments. I don't know where to start. I'm not overly disappointing. Jesus, there's people far worse off than me. Poor old FPL Raptor. You can see the dark clouds behind the eyes. He's on about 25 points. In fact, a lot of the content providers are absolute freaking disasters. So at the moment, yeah, say could be a lot worse. And I know a few of you are following the Des method and are doing very, very well. But some of us aren't. Not awful, just not where I wanted to be. Let's have a look at the game week, anyways. But yeah, for you guys, some of you guys, that's gone very, very, very well. Really, really pleased to see some of you absolutely cranking it and getting those points in the bag at a time when there is just so much chaos. It's absolute chaos. And here's a bit of my theory around it. And that was bearing in mind we still have got a game to go tonight with one Mo Salah and a lot of people captaining him to come. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. But my theory is this: last year, that 56 that I've got there, and we'll talk about how it could so easily have been an 80. I mean, just one of my own decisions, last second decision, and one fucking monstrosity of a piece of luck. It could have been so easily an 80, but it's not. But here's a bit of my theory. Last year, we were all cracking 80s and 90s in these first few game weeks. There's one reason for that. Take that 56 points, you take a Salah captaincy, you take a Haaland captaincy, and all of a sudden, that's 56, 66, it's an 86, an 86, an 87. I got 87 in my, I got 87, I think, in my first game week, and I got 77, 78 in my second game week. We had Salah and Haaland coming in with all. So even a moderate sort of 35 points or 40 points, suddenly whack 20, 25 on that. Bang. It looks very, very, very good. So I think this is, we're looking at these scores at the moment and thinking, oh my God, what's going on? There's one big reason for you. Very, very, very hard to get the captaincy right at the moment. And if you have, as I say, the people that have actually, done genuinely good picks. In my case, so one of the ones which was so near and yet so far was, Jacques. And I said to someone just before the game week, I said, okay, he'll get a brace. I'm sure he's going to get a brace in this game. Sure enough, he got a brace. Why did I take the captaincy off and put it on Haaland? I was playing safe. And it was literally at the last minute. And put another 12 points on that, and I'm pretty much on my 70, which, as you all know at this stage, that is my target I'm trying to aim for. The other big one, of course, that completely rooted me, and I was watching the game. So when it got to, I was sitting on about 50 points, I think it was. I just had two players to come, Porro and Bruno, and I was just thinking, chance of getting over. Actually, it was below that. I was actually below that. I was about 46, I think it was 46. I was looking pretty bad with just two players to go. I thought I need a miracle here, kind of get 10, 12 points out of each of them, something like that. And Porro got his assist. Looking towards the looking at the clean sheet. What am I saying? Munoz. No, sorry, brain's gone. Munoz. Yeah, looking at the clean sheet. I thought, Jesus, this could be put. There's hope. There's hope. It's the hope that kills you. And of course conceded. So I look at that back line. At the end of the day, it's a clean sweep of returns from the back line. And in fact, it's pretty much if I talk about the averages. I try and get 4 points out of the keeper, 5 points out of my defenders. Pretty much bang on. Pretty much bang on. But could have been a lot better. But it did give me hope, even going in with Bruno into that last game. It's a tricky enough fixture away to Fulham. United came out, the traps flying. I thought they looked magnificent, particularly in that first 30, maybe the full 45, but they should have been out of sight. But of course, you know where I'm going here. That penalty call came, and I thought, oh my God, here we go. There is hope. Bruno was already cracking along on the defensive contributions. He was already. It's cracking along on the defensive contributions. And United were looking pretty good. And then, of course, we got the penalty call. I thought, here we go. Who's going to take it? Please be Bruno. Please be Bruno. Please be Bruno. It is Bruno. Yes. Oh, here we go. He placed the ball down. He looked up. The referee walked right around in front of him. And Bruno's already sort of, okay. Starts reversing. The referee then walks right around behind him, looking away, and bumps into his back. And you can see he's just thrown out of his focus. Complete thought. He's going to miss. He's going to miss. I absolutely knew it. And I am still waiting for that ball to arrive in Ireland. If I had someone else here with me, I was going to get them to throw it to me and just get you here. Oh, got it. Yeah. And I knew it. And so all of a sudden, Bruno was on minus points. He went on to get his defensive contribution. United, I think, were disrupted in that second half. Would they got the clean sheet? I don't know. But he was, probable 3 points, potentially 2 or 3 points. The way Bruno plays, he'd have been right up there. And when Bruno scores, he usually gets the bonus points. And he'd had the defensive contributions. It was a 12 or 13 pointer. And this is FPL. It's just those marginal things. But that referee, fucking referee, if I ever see him. Anyway, so I am on 56. At the moment, it doesn't look awfully bad, with a game week rank of, just outside the million. If you're in that top percent every week, if you can stay in that top 10% in your game week rank every week, you are going to do very, very, very well. And I've had a big rank jump at the moment, which you can see there in my overall rank. But that's going to drop significantly. Even just Salah's 2 points doubled with 50% of the game on him. Yeah, it's gonna drop right back. My biggest problem, of course, though, is these injuries and what to do. And I think this is really the time. I'm still slightly considering it, but as I say, it really is the don't panic. Don't panic, because I'm not too bad compared to a lot, and I still feel I'm not in that bad a position. The game is extraordinarily volatile at the moment. So that was the free hit. Not a massive success, let's be honest. Not a disaster. Could have been so much better, but it isn't. So here we are. My biggest problem, though, however, is injuries now. I'm going to get rid of that. And we go into Desi spreadsheet land. All right, let's just make myself a little smaller here. Yeah, let's have a look at this, and hopefully we can sort of start to think what we are going to do. Well, that should look a little bit better, I think. Right. So I am obviously filling out my watch lists with my DEFCON monsters and watch lists, etc. But it is just way too early to read too much into this data. I could very, very easily do a team that would show it as an average, me getting 100 points per week, very, very easily. I mean, especially if you look at some of these prices, some of the players that are coming to the top here. If I did wildcard, yeah, Sanchez is fine. He's hitting my averages, but yeah, I could do a wildcard with the Calafiori, Timber, and Burn. You know, 15, 16 million defense, showing an average of 13, 12, and currently 9. Burns still got to go, but let's say take someone that's still sleeper in there yet. I think he got a 6. But yeah, okay, we'll just say someone there that I've got filled in. Romero, he's actually looking pretty reasonable, to be fair. Nice 7.5. That's crikey. Way above my averages, but they mean nothing at the moment. Similarly with you know yeah, Semenyo, Caicedo, at 5.5, Tavernier at 5.5, showing magnificent averages. These averages don't mean jack at the moment. They only start to mean something when you're sort of getting out to, 5, 6, 7 game weeks. So that's why for me, I really want to try and make it to game week 5 at least, so I can actually see some genuine patterns there in terms of returns, in terms of the DEFCON, to construct a team that then, I can play the way I play. A lot of you know it from last year, where I'm moving players in and out as they fall off their averages, or they're not getting the 2 or 3 returns in 5, etc., as I try and maintain that 70-point average. So I need to deal with what I need to deal with this week on the team I've got. And in truth, the fixtures don't look awfully bad. There's a few things obviously in there that are not ideal. But let's say with Sanchez, yeah, I mean he's ticking along okay, and it is a decent fixture at home to Fulham. I do fancy that we could see another Chelsea clean sheet there. A little bit nervous of Sanchez. The Chelsea defence is good, and if anything, Sanchez is probably the weak link in that defence. But it's going okay, so we don't have anything to deal with there. Milenkovic has been wholly disappointing so far, but I think, yeah, with the West Ham fixture at home, I think we can hopefully see an uptick in his numbers, and with that West Ham defence, maybe he will actually, I've still got faith in Milenkovic, but yeah, Forest just keep conceding that one bloody goal, don't they? Tarkowski, seeing exactly what I expected to see from him, and we've still got good fixtures in front of us, so entirely happy with that. And he's hitting a nice steady 6 average, and that first 4 in the first game week, yeah, we all know what happened then. That was another one that cost me about the clean sheet, his bonus points, etc. That should really, that should have been a 10, 12, 13 point for Tarkowski. Porro ticking along very nicely. Very nicely. I think there may be better options for me in the Spurs defence, which I'm not going to obviously deal with now, but we can obviously see, the likes of, Spence and Van de Ven, a lot cheaper, achieving pretty much the same average. So that's something we look at when we wildcard, and is that a way of, saving money, which can obviously be pumped towards if I do want to bring in the Haaland, or I do want to bring in the Salah when I wildcard. Maybe both, if the averages are showing that that I'm not spreading myself too thin across the whole team. Again, as a story for about game week 5 when I wildcard. But on the whole, the defence is not too bad. The weak link, obviously, here is going to be Kroipe with City at home, and that is forced upon me because of, obviously, I've got the Frimpong injury, I've got the Palmer injury, and as you can see, I've taken Saka out at the moment, and I've got a who in there. Who is going to go in there? We'll talk about that in a minute, because to be quite honest with you, I don't know. But there is a glaring weakness in this team. Although this team doesn't look awful bad for game week 3, there is a glaring problem here. There's a glaring problem, which I'll talk about shortly. Wirtz, It's not ideal. It's not an ideal fixture. I've got it in blue. Maybe that should be a red fixture in truth with Arsenal at home. So at the moment, would say I think we could probably say I've got two on red fixtures, what I call red fixtures. Johnson is proving very good. It has to be said. He's hitting a 8.5 average. A little bit of a worry on Johnson, and I'll tell you what it is. He's obviously scored in both games. He's achieving exactly what I thought he was going to achieve, but he made a freaking critical error in that game against City. And it is something that I know, without even speaking to Thomas Frank, that he will have seen that. And he will have either had a word or he will actually put Johnson on the bench for, even in this game against Bournemouth. And there was a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3, really good attacking position. And Johnson chose to shoot from a ridiculous position. The way Thomas Frank plays, he plays the averages a little bit like me, but in a different way. He is the big chance king. He wants his players to create big chances. He doesn't like this freaking skying the ball, over the post from 20, 25 yards. That's the way he plays. That's the way he played for Brentford. He will have ripped Johnson a new one over that. Now, will there be other consequences? I don't know. I do have a little bit of a worry there that he could say, right, on the bench, told you what not to do that, and you did it on the bench until you get your next chance. Hope I'm wrong. A little bit of concern there, a little bit of concern. But at the moment, unless I take hits, we have the no-hit policy, and this week is surely testing me, I'll tell you. We'll go with it. Rangers, yeah, that was an entirely disappointing performance from City. And Brighton away, though, I think it's a game that could suit him. And again, there is always the concern, doesn't matter how well someone's playing, the concern over the old Pep roulette. So there is risks in this team going out this coming week, in my mind. Even though the fixtures don't look awfully bad, there's certainly going to be risks. We'll talk about the who in a minute. But João Pedro punished a lot of people who sold him off after that first Chelsea game against Villa. And he certainly came back and punished them. Punished me, although I free hit it anyways, which I was always going to do in game week 2. So he's back. He's looking good. Gotta say, he had a very, very good game. Hopefully, we can see a good return against Fulham. Will Thomas Frank play the? Will he play Delap and João Pedro up front again? Will Palmer be back? I doubt it. We'll talk about Palmer in a second. It is. A lot of people will be buying him back this week, I suspect. And a lot of people got very lucky, I think, that maybe benched him. But because Palmer didn't play, they got the bench, coming off the bench, so. And Ekitike, not the easiest fixture again. I've got to have a little bit of faith in that Liverpool attack. It is the best attack, in my opinion, still in the league. Yeah, so I'd say I've got 3 red fixtures in there and some risk players. So this is where the temptation does come in to wildcard. But I think I have to play through this one and just do one transfer just to strengthen things up a bit. And here I go back to what I mentioned about the glaring problem in this team. Whatever about potential, having to play Kroipe against City. I suppose I could play Fulcrum against Forest, but West Ham look just awful, don't they? I fancy Brighton to have a better chance of getting everyone behind the ball and making it difficult for City to break down. And you never know, with City playing that high line, maybe there's a break on and Kroipe just gets a lucky assist or even a goal. Who knows? Listen, we've seen so much weird shit this last 2 weeks. Who the hell knows? Maybe he'll get a 15-pointer. But yeah, back to the glaring problem I have. Obviously, apart from the obvious things, that not ideal. Verts and Ekitike, but it's Liverpool. They're at home. You do fancy they'll still score a goal, and I think Arsenal are due to concede one or two. They've been a little bit lucky. They've kept their clean sheets, but they've been a tad lucky in my opinion. Against that Liverpool attack, I have some hope at least, and I think those would be pretty much both nailed on starters. The glaring weakness, and this is what's killed me the last 2 weeks, where I've actually had reasonable scores and I'd have been hitting my 70 if, you know, when I do my predictions, I say I leave out captaincy. So I predicted this, boom, and I'm actually probably sitting on pretty much at 63, I think, as an average when this whole thing washes up. I think I'm sitting on a roughly a 63-ish average. Actions can easily do that. So this game week's not done on my actual team, but where's that going to sit? We'll see where it sits when the last few games have gone. No captain, no obvious captaincy, and so I am all at sea again a little on this one now. Because what seemed like decent captaincy shouts the last 2 weeks have simply not come in, and this week I don't see an obvious captain. Now, we have a couple of thoughts here. Do I worry about it? And we just actually go with the player with the highest average, with the best fixture, which would be João Pedro. It's not a bad shout. I mean, he's starting to hit form again, João Pedro, or indeed Johnson. Playing by the rules of the spreadsheet, that's probably where I should be going. I know Ekatike's currently got the highest average there at 11, but obviously he's got Arsenal to come, so that could drop right back. Sorry, got Newcastle to come, so that could obviously drop right back. Or do I bring in someone in the who section that will really give me a decent captaincy option? Now, who would that be? Now, I could look at Acuna. Acuna looked very, very good in that second half. Coulda, woulda, shoulda had 2 goals, and it's against Burnley, so that would be not a bad option. It would also start to free up some money. Or my other thought is go with the João, because obviously if I bring in Cunha, that's great for this fixture, but fixtures after that are pretty grim, and I really want to try and get through 2-5, maybe even 6 if I'm not doing too bad, without hitting that wildcard button. I need the data. So my other option, recognizing that it could potentially be good to free up some money. Say the Palmer injury is longer term, maybe I do want to get to a Salah or someone like that. So if we sort of look down here, we look at the midfielders, and again, I do not read too much into these averages at the moment, but can we find, is it worthwhile just at this point? We'll look at making the midfielders here. Is it worth looking? Saying this. Caicedo, chugging along. 5, 13, DEFCON, averaging 9. Don't need him to average. I don't even need him to get me a 9er. I just need if he goes in there, pop him in there. Give me a 5. 5 would be lovely, especially if it's freeing up that money. That means that maybe I then bring in Salah for the Burnley fixture. Who are the other? I could upgrade Palmer to Salah, and then I'll be wildcarding in 5 anyway. So as I start to get a bit more data. Enzo, will Enzo give me enough money? Maybe. Well, it would. Yeah, clearly it would. Enzo, Fulham home. Bring him in directly for maybe bring him in directly for Palmer if I get some more news later this week. Who else is there? Who else? Tavernier. Spurs away. Not so much. Just who's got a nice tasty fixture that looks Dango. Dango's a beast. He's a flat track bully. He was for Brentford. Dango. I don't think that price is right. Is it time to unchain Dango? That really is a punt, isn't it? But he was a flat track bully. He was a flat track bully for Brentford. Is he going to be the new Mbomo? I don't know. I don't think he's quite got that skill level. But he is a wrecking ball. He picked up a bit of DEFCON as well. How he did that, I'm not quite sure. But he can be that can be a wrecking ball. And he does love being a flat track bully. You can see my thought process here. I think what I'm saying is I'm leaning towards just finding a good option. I would like to bring in Cunha, but as I say, it does pose future. It does pose future problems. I mean, I thought about, do I bring in Bruno, but I don't even know if he's on penalties anymore. But do that. But then I'm stuck with him for Chelsea away. I'm stuck with the United player for Chelsea away. And if I do manage to get past 5 without wildcarding, City at home. So it's not ideal, even Cunha, but Cunha could easily go off, and he would make a very, very good captaincy option, even though he's only got a couple of points average at the moment. So there's a bit of a long waffle where I'm at. I think I'm leaning towards finding, because this is my weakness in the team at the moment, as I said, is the captaincy option. Do I just go with João? It's not a bad option. Fulham at home. Chelsea are starting to click. So we could go with the João Pedro captaincy option and just work out who do I pop in there. For what it's worth, let's say it doesn't mean a lot at the moment. Starts to push these averages up a little bit, and gives me, as I say, a good captaincy option for 4, which could be Mo Salah, because I've freed up so much cash by moving out. Probably Saka, but potentially Palmer. And I'd say Enzo could be a very, very sensible punt there, I think. But Dango would be a hell of a punt, wouldn't it? And honestly, look back at his stats last year. He I know it was for Brentford, but he most certainly loved. You'll remember a few of us brought him in, and he brought us in a couple of hauls. He loves those promoted lads. He really does. What do you think? So a little bit of a Des waffle there. Let me know what you think in the comments as always. And I am going to come up with a new competition by the time I come back. We'll do the Bishop Brennan Cup this week as well. Obviously, there's still a few of you got Salah to come, so it could be all changed. But there's some nice scores, some really good scores in there, and some of you guys are doing so well. Really love seeing it. Love seeing it. And I'll think of a new competition when I do the Bishop Brennan Cup this week. And hopefully Salah does not do me too much damage tonight. It really is hide behind the sofa time, folks. It really is. Crazy game. Take care. Have fun. Play your own game. Don't panic. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.